Hello. It's about 3:30 in the morning and I can't sleep, so I'm going to talk a while. And this is about a subject that has been on my mind for many years, and it fascinates me. And the subject is information. And we're talking information about information and all this sort of stuff, and we live in an information age. At least, I don't know if we're still in it. It keeps changing all the time, but information age. And everybody uses the term, but what are we talking about, really? I personally have never seen any information or smelled it or touched it or anything like that. So I consider information to be something intangible. And, well, it doesn't really follow the laws of nature, especially laws of physics. It's not subject to gravity. It, it doesn't, well, it doesn't have a lot of characteristics that other things we talk about do. So, yeah, lots of people are going to disagree with me on my interpretations of things, and that's good. I think we ought to have a conversation in the comments section and in future videos about this subject. First off, yeah, where do you find information? Well, let's see if we can agree on some things at first. I think it's pretty obvious that libraries of books, let's say, are full of information. And the library in Cairo, I guess, was a big one that got lost in the past through fire. And a lot of information was lost. Quite a loss, yes. But let's just look at a single book. Okay, a book is created by an author, and he composes the words, and before he wrote the book didn't exist. So you could say that he created the information in the book. And if the book is destroyed, and there's only one copy of the book, well, all that information is lost. If you copy the book, if you have other copies around, then the information is not lost. So that's one thing about information. You can copy it. And let's say right now I'm speaking in words, so if I was reading a book, you'd have your hard copy of the book, and I'd be interpreting the book for you by reading it, and my body is creating pulses of air, and that's encoding words, sounds that get interpreted as words. So it reaches your ear where you reinterpret it again and into the words and the meanings and all of that. So you can transmit information. You can transmit information over radio waves, for example. Okay, now as far as I can see, the primary users of information are life forms. Okay, rocks don't really use information. They're subject to the physics, and if you hit it with a hammer, you can break the rock, but that's not a transfer of information. That's just a transfer of energy and, its effect on the physical makeup of the rock. Yeah, so you can transmit information, and you can use information to communicate with. You can multiply, or you can copy information. You can create information through your interaction with the world and your senses, and you can create the information, and information can be destroyed, like when the book is burned, if there's no copies of the book. Well, information can be created and destroyed. But what exactly is information? If you have a book, let's say the author sits down with a bunch of blank paper and a pen, and he writes these words down on the paper, and the words have meanings, and the book is full of information. Well, if you come back later and take a knife and scrape the ink off of the paper and make a little pile of black powder, and leaving blank pieces of paper, well, the information has been destroyed just as effectively as if you had burned the book. You can then take that little pile of black ink and moisten it again and put down new patterns on the paper and have an entirely different book with entirely different information in it. So you can create and destroy the information. But you can make a pile of ink, you can make a pile of paper, but you can't make a pile of information. There's not that third pile there after you're done with your scraping. So information, it's what is it? It's not something you can experience directly. Now, if you think of memory, and we all have memories, and they're all in our head, and if you get a concussion on the head, you can lose those memories. Okay, so those memories are not encoded on your, as far as I can tell what people think, on your soul. I don't believe in souls, personally, or if I do, I don't have a good definition of one yet. But yeah, the information is very dependent on the physical body. To have memory, which to me is, I define that as the localized storage of information over time. Now, localized means that, three-dimensionally in space, it's in my head. And localized means that for the user, and in this case I'm the user, I can put this information here today, and I can come back tomorrow and find it again, okay? Localized storage of information over time. Now, if you put that information on a radio wave instead of on brain cells, okay, that radio wave travels, the speed of light, let's say. You're never going to catch up with it again. So storing information on radio waves is no good for memory purposes. Okay, you got to store it in the brain. And what is the brain composed of? Well, it's composed of matter. And if you look at matter being like solids, liquids, and gases, and maybe ethers and whatever else, only the solid state of matter is any good or of any use for storing information locally over time. And in other words, to have memory, you have to have the solid state of matter to encode it on. And there's an element of encoding here. So if you look at computers, which are very similar to the brain, you'll see certain similarities. Memory sticks, for example, are made of solid matter. And the reason it has to be the solid state of matter is because with liquids and gases, the molecules are in constant random motion, so they don't hold patterns over time. Yeah, to have memory, you have to have the solid state of matter to encode it on. It's like a book. You can put the book down, you pick it up tomorrow, solid state of matter. Um, the computer is very similar. All of the memory units in the computer are composed of the solid state of matter, silicon chips or whatever they use. And it's all encoded in ones and zeros. You know, our encoding in the brain is not exactly that way, but it does have to do with a structure, a network of neurons, solid state of matter. Now, you can have a book, but I wouldn't say a book can be a memory unit, but a book doesn't really think. To think or to process information, as in a computer, you have to have a traveling vehicle. Okay, now the solid state vehicle, I call it a vehicle. It's something that, well, in this case, the traveling vehicle can travel with the information. So it's like electrical signals in the brain and also electrical signals in the computer. When you unplug the computer at night, well, it stops computing. And when the brain dies, you stop thinking. No electrical signals carrying information around within the brain. No electricity in the computer doing this processing. So, let's see. There was something else I wanted to mention too. Oh, it has to do with concepts of reality. Supposedly, there's an objective reality. And basically, you could say that what is. And that's really kind of hard to argue with that. However, we all have individual perceptions of what is through our information which we have created about what is, which is usually flawed to some extent. And we all end up with different perceptions of reality. So those are subjective concepts, subjective reality. Now, I think over time we can approach an objective sense of reality. I would take as evidence of that, for example, that we're able to travel to the moon, because that doesn't happen by accident. And we can go back to the moon as many times as we want, because we've pretty much got physics under our belts, or what, in our heads correctly, to make that work. So at any rate, information, that little bit of nothingness that's in that third pile when you scrape it out of a book, for example, what was I going to say? Yeah, okay, information is not always right on the mark. Sometimes we're mistaken, and science keeps revising itself because they make corrections, they make mistakes, they have theories and stuff, and it doesn't pan out, and well, they come up with another one. So, yeah, what was I going to say? Well, I don't know. Maybe it'll come back. So this is all unscripted. So, at any rate, let's see. Information. Yeah. Okay. Well, I should be sleeping probably. Oh, okay. So information. I don't know exactly how to put this. I don't want to offend everybody, but then it's a little exciting to do so and get some debate going. But to me, intelligence implies the use of information. You can, as an author, you can create information using your perceptions with your senses. Or you can create information with your imagination. You can write a novel which is not real. You can likewise create misinformation if you want to lie to somebody, like maybe spies create misinformation for the other side, just to throw them off. So you can't always recognize what's a lie and what's the truth. There takes constant referral back to the source of the information. What I'm trying to say is information about the universe is not the universe. Information about something is not that thing. Information is kind of in a world of its own where physics don't apply to it. Yeah, so we can see a few things here, at any rate. To have memory, you have to have the solid state of matter. To process information, you have to have a traveling vehicle of some sort, which is also matter or energy. To have intelligence, to me, that implies an ability to use information, to play around with it. And for me, you cannot have an intelligent creator of matter and energy. Ooh, what? No God? Yeah, no God. Yeah, God is a concept created by man. And there have been a lot of different alternative gods over the history of mankind, you know. All these different cultures come up with different gods, but it's just that the men predate the gods and not the gods predating the men. You have to, it's a matter of prerequisites. You know, like if you're going to get a PhD, you have to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic first, and a few other courses. If you're going to build a brick house, or if you're going to have a brick house, first you have to have some bricks. And those are prerequisites for the brick house. And prerequisites for the bricks are to have some clay and some energy source to fire them. So that's what prerequisites are about. And to have intelligence, you have to have information to think about, to play with, to work with. And to have information, you have to have matter and energy to encode that information on. So if you're going to have an intelligent being with memory, you got to have the solid state of matter. So you don't get the intelligence before you have the information. You don't get the information before you have matter and energy. So you don't get an intelligent creator of matter and energy. Look for another explanation of why matter and energy are here, but don't look there. It doesn't work that way. Let's see. Did I cover everything? I'm sure I haven't, but we could discuss this at some later date if you would like to. So please leave your comments below and click like and subscribe, and we can talk about this later. So it's a fun subject, it really is. Okay, so that's it for now. Bye.